Let me give a brief summary. So we observe a strong demand for data and analytics skills out of these 10,000 jobs. We find some mismatches between our curriculum and the job market requirements, right? Specifically about some data skills, right? And problem definition skills. We will design a new curriculum, right? To cover these mismatched job requirements. Before we talk about specifics, I want to share some of the teaching philosophies, and let's compare between two styles of teaching. Right, the one style of teaching, I come from engineering school, so I know this a lot. This is commented by Mark Twain. He said, "College is a place where a professor's lecture notes go straight to the students' lecture notes without passing through the brains of either." Right. In comparison, Protocci, about 2,000 years ago, he said, "The mind is not a vessel that needs filling, but wood that needs igniting." Right? I cannot think about a better example of the second style of teaching than the Wolf of Wall Street. But I watched it a couple of times. I especially like the promotion. Actually, this guy was giving to his associates before the IPOs of the company, and he's really threatening, inspiring, and eye-opening. Right? I hope to be like this guy in my classrooms, and our students will be like these associates. Right? This is the fact I would achieve: threatening, inspiring, and eye-opening. Okay, now let's come back to our supply chain analytics design principles. We want to balance the problem solving versus problem definition. Right? In the course, I want to have both. Right? A key selling point would be we'll have realistic applications, not stories we cooked or examples we cooked in our office, right? But real examples, data rich, and integrated with analytics. And we want to take students, right? Not just give them methodologies to solve problems, but we would take students through the process of defining and solving the right problem. So we give them a problem that is very messy, right? Could be all kinds of problems, not only logistics, but also maybe procurement, also production, and so on, right? All combined, really takes them right through the process of defining the right problem and also solve it. Right. The last point is equally important, right? We want to develop the capabilities of explaining the analytics or the insights in a non-technical way. Right? Because their boss, their colleagues, right, may not be technically competent to understand, all the details, right? So the students or the employees should also be able to summarize it, right? Tell the story, right? Or tell the insights in a non-technical way. We call this storytelling. This actually is very important capability, right, for practice. Storytelling actually could be very challenging. So what is storytelling? That's so what people call this in practice is visual storytelling. So look at the picture and tell the secret or the commercial secret behind it. What I want to say is this is not natural. Actually, most people didn't realize it's actually very challenging to really understand, right, the business meaning behind the picture. Oh, let's put it another way, right? Put all the puzzle pieces together, the data, facts, and so on together, right? And really understand what's the business meaning behind it. It's actually a special talent very few people have, but very, very important. I will show you a lot of examples a little bit later. I think this requires a flash of genius sometimes to really understand what was going on, or what is the insight behind it, right? Like Informs said, right? The analytics is the magic translating data into insights, right? It's going to have a significant impact. The good news is it's actually easy to teach. So although it's hard to get naturally by students themselves, but if you tell them, right, here's the picture, right, here's what's the meaning behind the picture, the secrets behind the picture. students can get it very easily, and it's repeatable. They will then know how to, translate this skill into other pictures. Now, if you teach in this way, like picture talk, right, storytelling, it's going to make the classroom or instruction, right, thrilling, inspiring, and eye-opening for both the students and also the instructors. Teaching storytelling is very effective in classrooms. All right, so naming layout the different courses, right, within the curriculum. So here we have different functional areas of supply chains, right, from procurement to production, logistics, right, demand management, and to integrated supply chains. And finally, of course, we like to give students some career advice, right? Tell them the job data and so on, and they will be really excited to explore jobs, right? Jobs and career development. And I said before, right? We want to cover both problem definition and problem solving skills. Right? Problem definition mostly data based, right? Because without data, how would you know, right, what problem it is, right? And also cover the model. Problem solving could be model based. So here's my first class. Usually, I'm going to start. I will start with the dream job analysis. Okay, now the dream job analysis will help students, right, with their career development by really searching their soul to find out what they like to do, right, and in what industries they can make more money with less effort, things like that, right? And students will work on S&P 500 data, right? Now, students will also experience the power of data analytics and storytelling, right? And this is the first lesson, and how to read the data from a picture and understand the meaning, right, with respect to their career choice. So it's going to make a lot of sense for them, and students love this. Now that's the first one, and then I will talk about competitive intelligence and benchmarking, right? So the example of American Airlines. Now I know this is not a popular topic in our supply chain curriculum. Actually, from those 2,000 courses, I haven't seen anything like this. Now, the reason I would bring this up is I think this is a missing piece from our curriculum, because this really trains students, right, to use data analytics to define problems and diagnose root cause. Actually, I will talk a little bit more about this. I will share some exciting moments. So you will see how important this is. From the student feedback and testimonials, we can also see students really love this module. Okay, then I come to the high point of this curriculum, which is financial impacts of supply chains. This module is going to demonstrate through data analysis, right, how important our major is, supply chain management is. So this will quantify directly the financial impact of supply chains, right, on companies' financials, and also the stock market valuation, such as market cap. Right, students will learn simple analytic skills to quantify that, and they will see a small change in the supply chain, right, can lead to a huge impact on the financials. Right, we'll look at various of cases and data, right, including Walmart versus Amazon, and also I'm going to show you like 47,000 companies data, and students can from 100 countries, and students can play whatever they like. After understanding the importance of supply chains, we're getting into different functional areas. Right, we'll start with the sourcing analytics, which helps companies to improve their cost of goods sold. Right, the example we'll give will be iPhone's CPU sourcing. Right, students using data analytics, combine data analytics with sourcing and procurement, right? And on this example, they would be able to replicate Apple's actual decisions on sourcing. So this is all about how to select and identify suppliers. Then we look at inventory analytics. Now, I know many of us teach inventory management, teach inventory models, but there's a missing part actually in inventory management, which is about problem identification. Do we really have an inventory problem, right? And how does inventory drive company's financial performance? First thing is inventory relevant in this case or not, right? So we have to answer these questions first before getting to the models, right? And this module is all about that. Right, using data analytics, we look at using the examples of Macy's, TJX, and Ross stores. Students will use data analytics, right, to identify inventory problems and to see how inventory may drive the financial performance. Okay, now also for production, we have a model-based module, which is on sales and operations planning. The case is Coach Logistics, the Coach bags. Like this is a more classical management science type of module, where students were learn optimization models, were build optimization models for smaller problems first, and then a step by step, right, and then put them together, right, to come up with a logistic network design problem for a realistic company, which is solvable in Excel in 1 second, right? Simple and also realistic. Okay, then for distribution and logistics, we have the Warren Weiner's case, right? And where students is going to learn how to plan, how to do integrated logistic planning, right? Not only for shipping, right, but also for inventory and warehousing together. And this company was in transition, right, from the push strategy to the pull strategy, which requires qualitative evaluation, right, on how to apply this strategy, right, the transition, right, to which product or to which stores. For logistics and the distribution, we also have the Hunger Games, right, to teach shortage gaming, such as order inflation, right, the panic orders, hoarding, right, hold inventories but don't give other people, right, and also news vendor model. Right, students going to learn shortage gaming, prisoner's dilemma, supply chain competition, and so on. Right, store the game. Now, for demand management, we have the influenza pandemic case, and here it's not a simple demand forecasting case. It's actually an integrated demand forecasting and production planning case with uncertain demand, right? Because pandemic, you never know it's going to hit us or not, right? It could be major outbreak. That is, we need a lot of vaccines versus only a mild, there's no outbreak, right? So the demand will be very flat. But you don't know in advance, right? The question is, how do we plan, right, for vaccine production, right? It turns out the companies, the commerce, right? Companies actually wants to do just in time because they have to bear with all the wasted doses, right? But the government wants to have just in case, plan for the worst case. So there's an incentive mismatch. So the question is, how do we align the incentives, right? The commerce with public health. Right, this case is very sophisticated, right? Goes from all the way from demand forecasting to production planning to incentive alignment. Okay, now as we can see, we're coming back to integrated supply chain management. So then here we have the flower game, floor park simulation, where we're going to simulate, right, supply chain contracts, which is actually one of the hardest topic to teach. It's very dry if you just talk about, right, just talk about this topic by lectures or calculations. Students get tired very quickly. Right, you don't have to do that. You can just ask them to play this game or play a game to experience, right, the paradox, a typical paradox in supply chain management. That is how to manage the relationship with your supplier or customers. Right, you have to work with them, right, as partners to compete with other supply chains. But because of the conflict of interest, right, you also fight with them, right? The question is, how do we manage the relationships, right? So to avoid the backstabbing, right, and to achieve win-win situation, right? It's a very important topic in supply chain management, right? Okay, now the last module will come back to the jobs and career development, right? And here, right, we'll add the student to play with the 10,000 job database, right? And for their interested, right, job functions and industries to come up with the number of jobs, the salary statistics, and job requirement, right? So they are going to do research on the job by themselves and come up with the insights and also share the insights.